Good morning and welcome back to the Now Morning Show, where our next guest is asking you to bear witness. And no, it's not a mispronunciation, but we'll get to it as Robert Young joins us this morning on set, holding his cap of band leader and designer, because we're talking Vulgar Fractions. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Yeah.
Always a pleasure to have you, and particularly in the carnival season, because Vulgar Fractions is known to make bold statements with mass that involves the people in a different way. So tell me what is happening for 2024.
This year, Isabay is the word, but Isabay is a Filipino word, a word from the Philippine language, and it means to walk along or to walk beside or to be with. And then that became to bear with, W-I-T-H, -ness, right? How to be with something, not to be a witness of it.
Right.
Because we are witnessing what is happening in Trinidad with the violence here. We are witnessing the violence in Palestine, and how to figure out how to engage yourself, and also to be able to listen to somebody who has an opposing view to you, and how to kind of like stand in their shoes.
Now that's a very tall order, because even in basic conversation, to have someone express the views that you do not agree with often ends an argument here in Trinidad.
Or you block them.
Right? And you're talking about very, very strong topics, violence specifically here, and even the violence in Palestine. When we talk about bearing witness in the mass, how are we doing that?
Well, just to be able to stand, because the responses to people on social media for being supportive of Palestine, our indigenous group of people, all social media. I had a problem with the person doing press release, and they couldn't do it, so I tried to put it through AI, and the AI stopped because I had Gaza and genocide. It stopped. They said I cannot interpret this. Something in here is wrong. Yeah.
So how will we interpret the mass? Because generally, the Vulgar Fractions portrayals also involve some level of handcrafting their actual
what we're
costumes.
doing this year, we're tapping on the curfew, and we are going to basically the costume is basically a jumper with two large cargo pockets, one green, one red, with other pockets on it, and then you have to transfer a pattern that you could develop of a curfew, because this curfew refers to is another slogan we can't say, from the river to the sea. So it speaks about fishing nets, wheat, the river and the sea, and having a space. So this has this language in there, so we can tell a story from these things if you build them for ourselves. So you cut stencils and build your own pattern of curfew in your own struggle in your life or situation in Trinidad with, like I referenced the gang stories here, the gang stories from stick fights or from what happened before emancipation and all through.
The Pan Men.
Yeah, Pan
That's
Men.
always been a part of us.
And how that got interfered with by social welfare works like the LEAD program and the DUDE program and the URP program and the CPEP program. It's kind of like trying to kind of give people some kind of job to kind of appease them from the life situation that they live in. Right? And we had a term in Trinidad. People talk about Gaza here and Gaza like in Jamaica and Gaza in places like St. Lucia. And it refers to they understood it as a confined space.
Right. So we're freeing ourselves a little bit in the mass, but we're continuing to tell that message. Now, one of the things you also do is make it so that you have choreography, if you will, and therefore the numbers are small. So we are getting ready for a small band.
It's a tiny, tiny micro band, a non-registered band, because I think that people, the idea that carnival needs to have some kind of control, but people feel that you cannot be on the road if you're not registered and all that. So we don't register. We pull a small number of people, and we don't have music. And membership is still open for the small amount of people, because you might have 20 to 25 people alone playing.
Right. Now, this time around, we're getting ready for the 25th in terms of launch.
Yeah, tomorrow is the launch.
Tell me what that's going to look like.
The launch is basically we have one of the best Orisha drumming groups from Point Fortin. They always have been working with us for the past 6 or 7 years out of Belmont. And it is going to be set up differently. Normally I have people talking about ideas, and I'm just going to set up a situation where we bear witness with each other. So how is the violence affecting you? Because of the shootings that have been happening in Port of Spain and around the place, people have a kind of, it's kind of tender now. It's kind of, people question even walking from my shop to the Savannah. So what is, the response from the state is just to add a controlled violence, bigger arms, more roadblocks, blah, 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 blah. But we are facing this thing in our bodies. And how do I listen to you? How does it affect you, right? So we are going to kind of like, not learn, but try to listen to each other about what this has been for us and the violence that exists here, because the genocide that we are seeing, the next thing I think I'm broadcast. Or I get thrown off of YouTube after.
Fair. In the case of the concept,
yes.
though, it lends itself to walking along or putting yourself in the footsteps of that person.
For instance,
so I get it.
For instance, what happened in Trinidad or in the Caribbean, right? When the colonial powers arrived here, there are people living here, indigenous people, and some of us say that they don't exist anymore. Yeah. So what is happening in our eyes and our phones happened here without a record.
Now, it's very, very personal that you've brought up without a record. Because we do think about Carnival as a big spectacle. We usually do want that visual, a big impact. We're talking 20 people and choreography, and for the launch itself, we're talking conversation.
Then we do a small jam session with you.
This is what I'm going to ask.
Because after the heaviness of that, but you have to spill to live. Bio, the guy that I reference, you have a spill to live. You have to pain kind of imprisons us, and if we release it, it breaks the walls, right? So it's looking at that, and I always try to look at the history of this place, how it affects us, how we deal with each other, and try to pull that into mass, because mass is a place where you could find space. You could bring any topic, even as heavy as this, or as harsh as this, or where the situation is near, like if you have a drunk father who comes home and controls the situation in the house, and that's what's happening there. It's like people are saying, this is how, and you watch it and you want to know what is going on there. Yeah, what is going on?
How they functioning.
And how we are processing what we see.
Well, we're definitely going to go into this space with an open mind so that we can bear witness to each other.
Yeah.
But tell me, is there a cost to this one?
To the band? Or to
the launch?
To launch? No. It's get free food and thing, and with music is a vibe. So come through 24 Thing Road in front of that Garniston Lab. They see the cloud propaganda space. Right.
And we're starting at 7 p.m., yes?
Yeah.
So we come in there, we're having the conversations, we're getting some good drumming to get us moving, and then we get ready for the road.
Yeah.
Bring your cloth, bring your hands, because we're getting ready to create those costumes as Vulgar Fraction launches Isabay Bear With-Ness this Thursday, the 25th of January at 7 p.m. Now, if they wanted to get information on how to get there, they're not from the area, so how do they connect with you? Give us those numbers and those ways to connect.
774-9368, that's my personal WhatsApp. That's one way. You could find us on Instagram, Vulgar-Fraction. And you can find me at As Inside Ready on Instagram also.
Now, one last question, because usually outside of the carnival space, we do see Vulgar Fractions pop up. There is usually some sort of movement throughout the year. Where next can we see you?
Well, I also the main designer of the cloth. So we go to Trinidad at the end of February to a trade show. So in Paris, and then we have some other things that we have to announce.
All right, we'll check you after Paris then.
Well, Vulgar Fraction will find something else to show up. We know inserting ourselves inside of Emancipation Period.
Right.
So
we'll look out for you, we'll look out for Vulgar Fractions, the cloth, and so much more. And you guys will look out for some entertainment after the break here on the Now Morning Show. Stick around.